turn my... Hey guys! I'm going to turn my phone on Do Not Disturb 1 second. Because... There we go. How are you? Nina here, president of the NNBA, and Casey, member engagement coordinator.
Hello.
We're here outside on this lovely day and here for our Tuesday afternoon live stream. And we're excited to be back after a nice restful Easter break.
Yes.
And glad to be back with you guys. Hope you all are doing well. We would love to see you in the comments wherever you are. So we're streaming to a couple different channels, but we always watch the chat because we want this to be interactive. We're going to try some new things today to make this a little more interactive on both sides. And so I'm excited for that. But today our topic is really how to use your vision, right? Because vision can be like this thing for me anyway that just kind of like follows me around, like it's like a cloud and I live under it. Like, is it who stands under the little cloud of rain?
Not Eeyore.
Linus. Oh, no, is it Eeyore?
I don't know.
Okay,
but I know what you're saying.
A cartoon character stands under a cloud of rain, and sometimes that's what vision can feel like. It's there. We know it's there. It's like following us around, and we've got things we want to do with it, but it doesn't like serve a daily purpose. And so I'm excited because if you're wondering like, how do I achieve my next goal? How do I figure out what's next? How do I align with my vision? Like, how do I actually do something with my vision? That's actually been something I've spent a lot of time these last, I would say 2025 right now for me has been like aligning with my vision and figuring out what that vision is and how it looks coming down from that cloud, like into day-to-day life, and how that affects me and my business and everyone around me. And so I'm really excited to talk more about that. So
yeah, I'm excited too, because I think for me, like my vision changes every day. And I think that's not a good place to be when you're really trying to like focus in on something. You really have to decide like, what is my vision? What is my goal? What do I need to get there? But if it's changing every day, that doesn't make for like a really straight and narrow path. So I'm excited to talk about this as well.
When I think about vision, here's what comes to my mind. When I first started my business, like right after you do your LLC and register your business and like think of the name, the next thing is like you build like a business plan, and that business plan has mission, vision, values, and that has always just ticked me off.
Yeah.
Okay, because I'm like, this is annoying. What does this mean? How does this have anything to do? And you think like in your mind, like building this business plan and like you got all this on paper and then you never look at it again. It's over. It dies there on that piece of paper.
Yeah.
It doesn't get you clients. It doesn't move you forward. It doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
But I have been reforming that area of my thought in 2025. And really, I think I've been like growing into this a little bit, where I understand how vision moves you forward a little more. Whereas before, I really didn't. And so I'm seeing now that having a big vision and leaning into that and committing to that can actually really move your business forward.
Right. And I think if we don't have a really clear vision, it's easy to lose sight of like why you even started it. And it can just really become like what you feel for that day or what you want to do, at that very time. But it's really important to like make a clear, like I said earlier, like a clear path.
Well, I think that's important that you mention that, because when you don't have a clear vision and an established vision, you default into grinding.
Yeah.
So I have to show up. I have to do all these things. I have to get clients. I have to, I have to be on 7 social media platforms. I have to do 1 long form post, 1 short form post, 1 video, 1 reel, 1, blog article, 1 case study. I have to do. And you start making these task lists, and I'm not seeing that bringing me any closer to my vision unless I really lean into the values that support that vision. And one of the values, I was telling you this earlier, one of the values that I realized was number one for me that was actually missing. I have actually gone and updated my values for the NNBA and for my business and what for heart healthcare for actually what I want to see in my business. And I changed dun dun dun. No,
drum roll.
I changed the values and I changed the values to number one, freedom, which was super impactful for me. Like I had an emotional like revelation about this. Like, why am I doing this?
Right.
What actually matters? And everything else falls under freedom. You know, I've been having conversations around this and like why I'm doing things and like what should happen and what should be the strategy and how should the businesses be structured and how should they function and what should we do? And it keeps coming back to freedom.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think at number one, your vision should align with what you value. So the vision for me now has kind of changed to how does my business support the freedom of others and myself, right? Ultimately, I'm wanting to create a business for myself. And me and Jed have talked a lot about this that supports us being completely and totally free to the maximum of our ability in every way. If we want to leave, if we want to travel, if we want to move, if we want to go to Hawaii, if we want to take a vacation, if we want to not work for a week, if something happens, if something falls apart, if family needs us, we are 100% available for that because we're completely financially, schedulally free to do what we need to do to live our lives. And I've been really feeling passionate about wanting that for you, about wanting that for my contractors.
Feeling passionate about wanting that for me as well.
I want that for my contractors. I want that for my clients. I want my clients, my coaching clients for nurse business owners. I want that for my hospice clients for compliance, to experience the freedom that allows you to make the right choices in your life.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, I think that's huge. Like we were just talking about right before this, just how like yesterday I was in Memphis, and since I'm PRN and working my way out of being an employee that I have to clock in and clock out, I was able to just come here today and I get to like, you know, see your family, like my family and your kids, and I get to work from here. And if I want to go back to Texas tomorrow, I could do that and work from there. But when you are a clock in, clock out employee making money for someone else, you eventually hit a cap on PTO, on, you know, if a family emergency happens, you have X amount of time to go, you know, 2 days of bereavement, maybe paid, maybe not. It's just like it really changes your like quality of life when you feel so limited.
Well, I've seen these DONs in these Facebook groups, and even in the Nurses with Cards Facebook groups, I see people talking about like my mother or my father or my sister or my husband passed away, and I called my boss and left a message and let them know, and they texted me back, we're not taking call-offs right now. The nerve.
I can't even say on camera what I would say back to that.
But I'm seeing that as like a real thing happening to nurses. Like, we're not talking about like, you know, I'm feeling emotionally down today and I'm not sure that I'm going to bring my full self to my shift. So I'm just going to need a day, you know.
I took more than that when my dog died.
But like, these are real personal crises that these people are experiencing and can't. And the response is that I don't care about you enough to say that, well, I'm so sorry to hear that. We'll cover it. Right.
Yeah.
So like, I'm talking about being able to be in a place where you not only can take a day if you feel like you need it. I'm not working today. I don't feel like I have the capacity for this. Right. But also like, I've had a serious issue happen in my life and I don't know when I'll be able to work again.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that makes a difference.
So like, I think vision needs to come back to what you value. Number one, knowing what you value. So what do you actually value? And I think some of us have worked ourselves so deeply into the system and into like what other people need, other people's needs, that we don't actually know what we value. We
Yeah.
haven't, and for me, that was kind of like the freedom thing. Like, I knew I valued like gratitude and generosity, and I knew I valued um authenticity and being genuine.
Yeah.
Those were my previous values, were authenticity, generosity, and gratitude. And freedom bumped to the top of all of those.
Yeah.
And I think it's really important to create a vision supported by your values, and then use that vision to create the strategy to be aligned to move forward. And this is more than mindset for me, because this is working. This is making me money, a lot of money right now. This is what's working for me.
Right.
So I know a lot of nurses, including myself, want to show up, for the strategy. The pollen, it's just everywhere.
Oh, trust me, I am dying right now.
They want strategy. They want a to-do list of everything you couldn't miss in your business. And every time something unexpected comes up, they get frustrated. I didn't know this, and now I have to do this, and now it's stressing me out. But the truth is, when you get aligned into this vision, then you can map out what does a strategy look like? What do the next right steps look like that support this big, huge vision? And that vision can just simply be like, I've actually done exercises, and we're going to do a very short couple exercises here in a second, just to show you maybe what you could do on your own deeper.
Yeah.
But I've done exercises where we sit down, we set a timer for 5 to 10 minutes. We sit down and we go as much into detail about what we want our lives to look like as possible. And you don't come out of that with email your list with a offer. You don't. That's not how it works. What you come out of that with is, how far does my life look like from this ideal picture right now? And what needs to happen? How much money do I need to make to feel this feeling, or to have this house, or to be able to pick my kids up from school every day, or to work one day a week and be with my mom, care for my mom the rest of the time? Like, all these needs that people have, I'm very in tune with seeing these needs that nurses, because that's where that freedom and flexibility of working for yourself comes in. Right. So I would strongly encourage you, if you haven't, to sit down and map out what you want your life to look like and where the gaps are, because that's going to create your vision. If you're like, I have no idea how to create a vision, and I don't even know what my vision is supposed to look like. Is it for me? Is it for the business? Short answer is, it doesn't matter. Right. Your business should support your life. So if it's your business and you own your business, it's the same thing. I have found there is very little division between my business goals and my personal goals right now. They all fall under that vision and those values of complete freedom and flexibility, and helping people, right? Helping people is a big part of what I want. But all my other values fall up under that.
Right. Yeah, I totally agree with that. And I think it sounds like a lot, like, oh my gosh, that's so much pressure. How do I put all these values in one thing and base my whole business around it? I need to make money. I need to do this. Well, you can. Like, for me, I'm also like that. I don't have kids. I'm in a very different situation. So I think it's a good comparison. To me, I want to be able, all my friends are getting married. I want to be able to, like, go to Miami for a week for a bachelorette party. I can't wait for the PTO and just fly in on a Friday and fly out on a Saturday. If you deny me PTO, I'm going anyway. So, like, freedom and the ability to make a difference, and also, like, doing things right. Something I've learned as a nurse is, like, a lot of places don't do things right, and I don't feel good about the work I'm doing. And if I'm not going to feel good about the work I'm doing, and it doesn't support the lifestyle I want, and I'm probably not getting paid as much as I think I am worth anyways, I'm not seeing a lot of positives at that point. So you just need to look, I need to make this much money. Like she said, I need this kind of flexibility. I like to travel. I'm very involved in her kids' lives and my parents' lives and stuff. So it's really important to just say, like, what is a job that I'm hired by someone else not going to support? And it really makes it easier than you think. It's not picky or high maintenance. It's, you get one life, make it work for you.
So I want to just, before we move on from this, I want to just say, like, sometimes we get really caught up in the tasks, the to-dos, and I've kind of alluded to that as like we get caught up in the strategy. But I'm talking about Jay.
I love
Jay!
that.
Yes.
That's
Prepare
so good.
the others. I'm leaving.
And you better have them prepared because I sent this email from the plane. Yeah.
I saw like a
I'm
thing
on
that
the
was like,
beach.
me working from home. Can you hop on a call? And he was like walking through the airport. You
Yeah.
know?
I've literally done that. Like COVID. I'm like, phone call? My camera's not working right now.
Hello, you're cutting out the internet. It's not working.
Mhm.
But I just want to recap to say, you know, if you've heard of like getting in the grind, this is what we're talking about right now. We're talking about like forgetting the intention behind things and defaulting to the doing, which I think there needs to be a balance of like showing up for your business and doing the things. You have to show up in some way, somehow you have to show up for your business, or you won't get clients.
Right.
But you have to balance that with like the intention and the vision casting of what you're creating, because that's what keeps you energized. That's what keeps you focused and aligned to stay in this, right? Because business is not easy. This is not the easy way out. We're not talking about getting rich quick here. I really wish we were.
I wish.
Could we talk
and
about
actually,
that?
if you know how to do that,
Okay, please reach out.
email me, and I would like to join that live also.
Yeah, if we have a get rich overnight option, we're here for that.
Yeah.
But this ain't it.
Yeah.
So I just want to talk about making sure that we understand that it's a balance, and you can't default all to a to-do list and not have the vision to back it up, because you'll get lost in that. I have done this. I have got lost in the to-do list of checking the boxes and doing the things, and realized I had derailed from the why and was just grinding. And that is exhausting and it's frustrating. And you sit there with 100 tabs open and wonder what the heck you're doing here. And you feel like there's never enough. Like that leads to that lack mentality of not having enough. So you're going to get stuck sometimes. It's just going to happen. But having that vision to kind of back it up will help you get unstuck. So we're going to do like a short little exercise here. We're going to see how it goes. So you can put it in the chat if you would like. You don't have to. But if you're obviously in your car, might want to save this exercise for later, or don't close your eyes. But if you're sitting somewhere quietly, pretending to be on a Zoom call, this is the perfect opportunity to do this. So we're just going to take 1 minute here, and we're going to think about a time. It doesn't have to be in your business. Maybe you're just aspiring to start a business and you feel stuck, or you don't know what to do, or you can't make a decision. Think about a time in your whole life where you felt frustrated or stuck, or your situation felt impossible. That's what we're going to do. We're going to spend 1 minute. We're going to think about a time where I have felt frustrated, stuck, or things felt impossible. Okay. And then we're going to think about the outcome of that situation and how you overcame that, or what happened there. So we're thinking about a time when you felt frustrated, stuck, or
things felt impossible.
I'm going to put it in the chat.
I'm going to try not to sneeze.
Some of you are probably like, now. I don't have to think that far back. If you have your phone, you can put this in the notes. Gosh, the pollen. If you have a pen and a paper, I would recommend that you write it down. You can share it in the chat if you want to. Usually it's kind of personal. So if you don't want to, that's fine. I'm thinking almost every time I do this exercise, I think about how I lost my job in Hawaii. That's the one that comes to my mind. And then we're going to think about, for another minute, just one more minute, what was the outcome to that situation? Or how did you overcome that time when you were stuck?
Yeah, I feel that way now. If anyone needs inspiration or is like embarrassed to start, just wanting to take that step into like full-time entrepreneurship or just doing my own thing all the time, it's scary to let go of that stable income. But also, like, I've gotten hurt so many times by aggressive patients. I've felt burned so many times by administration. It's just, it feels a little bit impossible. Like it's evil against evil. Like, don't have a paycheck or have a crappy work situation. So that would be mine if anyone's needing a little inspiration. She said that she lost her job and that was what started hers. So I'm with you too. It's, we're all learning together.
And then the last part we're going to think about is, and I'm going to put this in the chat for you, what is something I thought I needed that I realized I don't? And sometimes these questions are hard. Sometimes there's no answers, right? Sometimes you're like, I still think I need it and I don't have it, right? Like for me, like I need a whole team of technicians to do all things technical because I don't have the capability to be an IT person.
Yeah.
I don't have that. I still have to do my own work for the most part. I have a couple of VAs who are amazing. I have you. You're amazing. But for the most part, for the tech side, I'm doing a lot of that myself and I don't enjoy it. So there's always going to be things that we still think we need, and maybe we do, right? And those are part of our bigger vision. Like those can go into that bigger vision of building a business that runs itself, that I'm the CEO of, that, I get to step out of the day to day. That's part of my vision.
Right.
So what is something I thought I needed that I realized I don't? You may be thinking you need an email list, and maybe right now you don't need an email list. Maybe right now you need a vision that supports why people would join your email list in the first place. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about here. Maybe you think you need a evergreen funnel to a webinar in order to make money, and that's what you need. That's what you're stuck on right now. For a long time, in 2019, when I was first getting started, I put so many hours into trying to make an evergreen webinar. I thought that was the answer. It was when ClickFunnels, I think, was getting big. And I thought, this is my get rich quick scheme. And it wasn't even a scheme. Like I was like, I'm going to teach people how to be a DON, but I have to have a webinar to do that. She's blowing my nose. Just blow your nose. Just be a human.
Really bad allergies here in Tennessee.
It's really bad. But I can like feel it in my throat.
I know.
But seriously, that is something I thought I needed that I didn't. I didn't need that. Is it great to have? Yes, but that's not how I needed to start, right? Yeah. That's not what was going to be my big breakthrough. So the last question that I want you to think about, just as we keep moving through the last couple minutes here, is what is your big vision? Like, what is your vision for your life and your business? And you need to know that before you go any farther, because everything you do is going to support that. And if you're just kind of wandering through it, trying to figure out what's going to hit big and what's going to be, the thing that gets you a client or the thing that goes viral, if that's not happening for you, it could be because you're not aligned with your vision, or you think your vision is to go viral, but your vision really isn't to go viral. It's really to help people. It's really to help people figure out, why they feel sick all the time, or it's really to help people figure out why they're anxious all the time, or how to lose weight, or how to find the job that they love. Maybe it's something completely different. Yeah. So I would challenge you, as we go into this next couple minutes and wrap this up with vision planning related to strategic planning related to vision casting. That's really what I would challenge you to do is today, before you do anything else for your business, don't do anything else until you write out, sit down, write out, what is my vision for my life and my business, and start thinking about that only. Like intentional time spent on what it looks like. I literally like almost meditate on what it looks like. And I can tell you from 2019 to now, that is happening. Like it is. Even the financial piece, I would literally sit and envision the number 20,000 in my checking. I don't know why, but I felt like I need to have the financial freedom to experience peace, to know that I'm not going to be looking at where my next paycheck is coming from. I would just spend the time envisioning the number 20,000. Now, right now, today, I'm doing that with 50,000 because I have achieved that and I have moved on to the next thing. And Jetty, one of his jobs as the role of our chief everything officer, chief prayer coverer, is to pray for $50,000 months every month. That's like that, and next is $83,000 every month because that's $1 million.
Mm-hmm.
We're very close to the first goal and we're moving to the second one. But being intentional about what you want to see, being intentional about why it's important, why it matters, that's it. The strategy is just support, a supportive foundation to keep you focused after that.
Yeah.
So let's talk about how to get to the goal setting. So how much time and energy do you truly have? What are you going to be able to show up for? So what's your capacity, right? Because if you're setting a goal and you're like, I want to focus on my business 8 hours a week. Well, if you're working full time, 40 hours a week, and you have 3 kids in sports, and you're picking up PRN hours, and you're trying to do 10 different things, you don't have the capacity to work on you might not have the capacity to work on your business 8 hours a week, right?
And if you do, then you don't have the capacity to sleep or eat.
Right. Or if you're in school and being a mom and doing this, you have to figure out what your priority is going to be. What is the goal right now? Maybe the goal needs to be to finish school. Maybe the goal needs to be to go PRN at your job if you're making that decision for your business. But really, I think it's important to be realistic about the capacity that you have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think another thing that we kind of talked about is just like deciding what you're going to show up for weekly, like kind of like just playing off what you just said. Like, obviously you have to put like your family first. If you're a mom, you can't be like, I'm going to focus 8 hours and I'm going to get rid of my kids, you know? So you have to put like priorities up there with necessities. But
and when your vision and values are aligned,
mm-hmm.
that's done for you.
Right.
Like it's there.
Yes, that's so important.
So I think some of that vision can build that goal. Is that a bee?
Who knows? Could be anything.
I don't want to be near a bee.
It does look like a bee.
It does. So that vision and that goal is gonna help support that goal and make it really obvious what the goal is for you, right? So when you have that vision for freedom, the goal is going to be home with your kids and to be able to pick your kids up from school. Yeah. And so the next right step, what's in alignment with that? Well, creating a business that supports that, right? So if you're picking up extra hours and if you're doing all these extra things, that may seem like the right thing to do, but actually that might be defaulting into the grind. So let's start saying no to some of those things that aren't aligned with your vision. And this is a super counterintuitive process. I'm just going to put that out there. This is the most counterintuitive thing I've ever done in my life, is getting these things right.
Yeah.
But when you start getting them right, it becomes very obvious because the money starts coming in, the time freedom starts coming in, the peace starts coming in, the mental space, the clarity starts coming in, the creativity starts coming in. But the process itself of letting go of these things that seem like they're the right things to do and the process of saying no to things that you would think make more money is feels very like there's like, oh, that fear kicks in of like, I'm not doing the right thing here.
Yeah.
And so it's scary. It's a scary process.
I think if you don't know what your values are too, if you're like, I really don't know, like what exactly, think about what is causing you so much stress in your life. It's probably the opposite of that.
Yeah.
If you're working a ton of hours, this is something that, we've been talking through. I've been working like 70-hour weeks. There's a bee on me. Okay. If you're working like 70-hour weeks as a staff nurse at your PRN job, because the money's there, but you don't have time for anything else, you have to look at like, okay, the thing that's causing me the most stress, so I'm not worried about money, but I'm not exercising, eating healthy, I'm not prioritizing my business plan, which means I'm even further from my goal of being on my own. So just look at what is causing you the most unrest in your life, and the opposite is probably your value.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I also think like chasing someone else's vision versus your own is huge. Just
this is what I was doing for years. This was my entire career in nursing. Just to put that out there, my entire career in nursing was to find fulfillment for myself by somehow performing so hard that I earned my worthiness from someone else. And it's absurd. First of all, to say it out loud sounds kind of stupid, honestly, because it's like I didn't make more money for showing up harder. Now, maybe I bonused out a little bit. I remember like hitting some bonuses, and that was really cool. That was a really cool thing, but not compared to what I was giving up. Literally almost lost my marriage over trying to prioritize someone else's definition of success, because I really thought that was how I was going to get to where I wanted to be. So your vision shouldn't be putting someone else's needs before yours. And unfortunately, a lot of the time, unless you're a partner and you have buy-in and ownership, moving someone else's business forward isn't going to move your business forward or your vision forward. So, I'm not saying employment is bad. It's the right answer for a lot of people, because self-employment is really, really hard. We may run. If you see us run, it's a wasp or a yellow jacket, it looks like. And it's violating my personal boundaries.
Yeah.
So if we run, that's why. It's over. The live is over if the yellow jacket lands on me. But it's really important to understand, like, are you moving your vision forward right now? Or are you moving someone else's vision forward right now? And what would it look like for you to pivot from that? And you'll figure out pretty quick if it's aligned, because you'll feel that. You'll feel that lightness. You'll feel that lift. You'll feel that energy, that creative energy, that I can't with that. It'll really change how things feel for you.
And I think like you said, employment, working as an employee is not it's not bad. Like if that is what you want, then you go for it. Like people have to do it, and people do really well and feel very fulfilled in those positions. But if you're not fulfilled in that position, and that's not what you want, and that's not your value and your goal, just know that by fulfilling someone else's vision, they're enjoying the fruits of your labor, and they're getting all the things that are so important to them, like the freedom and the money and the so that's okay if that's what you want. But if that's not what you want, you're never going to be satisfied in a role where you're not fulfilling your own vision.
So today, to kind of wrap up our vision casting and what's next live, your homework is to really literally just write out your vision of your perfect life. I've done this with so many coaches. This is a coaching exercise that I cannot even tell you how many coaches have had me do this. Every time I do it, it is like magical. It is like I want you And if you're at a place where you can put this in the chat, please put it in the chat. What's the craziest thing? What is the craziest thing right now you want? I want a house on the ocean in Hawaii. I want a house in Hawaii, like Lanikai Beach House, facing the ocean that I can go to anytime I want. And you know what? You know what else I want to do? I want to send people to it. I want to pay to send people to stay at that house, like my pastor. I want to send my pastor's family. Hope they're not watching this because it's a surprise. Because it's going to be a while. I want to send them to that house for like a vacation and like let our friends and family use it, but actually like pay for them to be like, guess what? This is your lucky week.
Sorry, I'm so sorry. Sorry. That was a little too close for comfort. That was almost in my mouth. Sorry. My dream is to not have this bee in my face this whole live stream.
Sorry.
We
can't do this. It's gonna have to be inside next time. I can't come out here. This is too much nature happening. But it's this is a serious moment where it's like really important to focus on these big dreams, the impossible. I'm talking about the impossible things that seem like you could never have.
Yeah.
Because those are the things that are going to move you like emotionally.
Yeah.
You need to emotionally move towards your goals.
Yeah.
You can do a lot of tasks and check off a lot of boxes and move no closer to your goals.
Yeah.
See no movement at all.
Yeah.
And be frustrated and feel burnout and feel like you haven't done anything for yourself.
Yeah.
So it's really, really important. I literally want to wake up and book a flight and eat lunch on the beach. Yes.
I did that one time and I stayed there for 8 months.
This is not a joke. I'm not doing this for comedic relief. There's a yellow jacket. I'm trying to get through the end of this live. You need to leave.
If I live past this thing, mine would be to buy our parents a house because our parents live in Ohio and they aren't quite ready to commit to moving to Tennessee, which we consider home because we've lived here so long. And I would love to buy my parents a house so they could come down here. Everything is taken care of. And when they're ready to retire, if they want to be in Ohio, they can go be in Ohio. If they want to be in Tennessee, they could be here and maybe even a place on the beach or something.
Yeah.
I want to be able for my parents not to struggle, not to say they would, but just when they retire. I don't want them to worry about anything. So it doesn't always have to be about what you want either. Yeah, it could be about what you want for the people in your life that you love.
It could be an impact goal.
Yeah.
Like you could be like, I don't ever want any nurse to be forced to get a vaccine again. It could be, I don't want anyone to ever feel like they don't have access to healthcare. Whatever you're passionate about, it can be anywhere on the gamut of social change issues or whatever. Helping new moms, helping old people, homeless people. It doesn't matter, but connecting to your dreams for how you could impact that and what that looks like is going to help you lean into those goals and really know what is the next right step, right? And I have been really saying a lot more is leaning into service. If you don't know what the next right step is, if you're like, yeah, this is all great and dreaming and goals and vision are great, but how does that help me make money and how does that help me get a client? If you can't even come up with the next right aligned step based on your vision, first of all, if you haven't created the vision and done the work, I don't want to hear it. Do the work. You can't sit around and think about, well, that's all fine and good, but I still don't know the next step if you're not doing the work. So take 5 minutes and write out your vision, and that will help you get the mental space you need to know what the next right step is. But if you're still feeling stuck and you're still like, I did the work and I still don't know what's right, start to show up and serve. That's all I have to say is show up and serve for free. And I don't often encourage people to work for free, right? I'm all about being well compensated for what we do. But when you're stuck and you don't know how to show up for your business, right, and the only thing you can do is show up and serve, that will move you forward if nothing else does. just show up and serve the people you feel led to serve.
Mhm.
That will move you forward, and people will start to say, hey, I saw you serving such and such, and I need that. Could I pay you for that service? Absolutely. Thank you
Mhm.
so much for asking.
Yeah.
That's what moves you
That's
forward
good.
in the revenue and in the client and the business building, is getting aligned with your vision and your goal and then showing up.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. Thanks
Yeah,
for
that was
being
good.
here. Yeah, that was awesome. And thank you
I'm
for
feeling inspired.
Yes, me too. I'm going to
Mhm.
go and reflect on my vision for a while and add some things to it.
Yeah.
But we're going to let you guys go. Thanks for joining. Thanks for your patience with the Yellow Jacket Extravaganza of April 2025, where we fought for our lives.
B-Gate.
B-Gate 2025. All right. Bye, guys.